The Subaru WRX is an icon. Just like other segment regulars, the Civic SI and VW GTI, the WRX has evolved. Well, sort of. It's still very much old school, and I'm not complaining.
If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel so you can help me take this to the next level. Thank you. Now back to the review.
The car I have here today is a base model. There's base, premium, and limited. This one has the World Rally Blue, which I think is personally the color to go with the WRX.
While we're talking colors, Subaru is doing a series white trim this year. It includes a Bilstein suspension, Brembo brakes with red calipers, Recaro seats, LED steering responsive headlights which are also on the limited, and special color accents. Only 500 will exist, so good luck if you want that. All models have this black grille at least, base models have whatever these lights are called, and real fog lights come on the premium, LED fog lights come on the limited.
You're just gonna get halogens for headlights. If you go to the limited model, you will get LEDs that have kind of a darker hue to them. Of course, everybody knows that huge hood scoop, and yeah, it's functional.
Step alongside the WRX and you will notice the 17-inch rims that come on the base model. 18s come on the premium and limited. Do you like your brakes to hurt your face? There is a performance package available in the premium trim that gives you a Brembo braking kit with 4 piston calipers up front and dual at the back. Subaru put a beefy side skirt on here. It looks like something 6-year-old me would put on a car in Midnight Club, and I like this. It separates it from the previous gen Impreza.
The WRX doesn't have much in form of fake vents, but I can point out one to you. That'd be right here. It looks nice though, so I'm not gonna like dog it too much. Then you have a nice little WRX badging right there. Subaru did a good job with creating some muscular lines. A few good examples of that is this side profile. You get the little double crease over here. I also appreciate that they give you bigger windows on the side. It really helps out with visibility. Kind of creates a little bit of a different look too, if you ask me. You do not get proximity unlock on the base or premium. You have to step up to the mid $30,000 Subaru WRX Limited in order to get that. Coming around the rear of the WRX, we noticed that there's no wang on the top of this thing like there is on the WRX STI. You have 4 large exhaust ports down here, and then a little rear diffuser with a nice little nod to Subaru's rallying days with a little cutout for the fog lamp or whatever they use in rally cars and race cars alike. I think the exterior of the WRX is very much Subaru, but it did a good job in 2015 of doing a crisp update to the styling of the WRX that we know and love. The interior of the WRX has some high points, but overall it remains somewhat forgettable.
One of the biggest benefits to the WRX interior is its ease of use and display of information. You get analog gauges, big clicky dials for the standard automatic climate control.
On the base trim, you have a 6.5-inch display here. They all have Apple CarPlay and they all have Android Auto. You have simple buttons to navigate it on the side. With the premium and limited, you have a 7-inch display and you lose those buttons in place for some faux buttons. All of them have actual volume knobs, tune knobs.
The infotainment system in here is relatively intuitive and easy to use, but responds slower than its competitor systems and looks dated to begin with. A redesign appears to be in the works for next year, and hopefully it will be better than even the current Impreza's design.
All of them also have a 5.9-inch display right on top of the dashboard. What that does is it shows you your boost, because this is a WRX and you have boost. And you can also display a whole bunch of other things. Since this is the base model, you really don't get a whole bunch more than that. No heated seats like you would get on the premium, no power seats like you would get on the limited, and no moonroof like you would get on the Premium or Limited as well.
Typically, the base and Premium will have the same cloth seats, but opting for the Premium with the Performance package will get you special Recaro front seats with an 8-way power adjustable driver's seat, a moonroof delete, and the aforementioned Brembo kit. Now for the most innovative feature of the interior, the freaking center console. Both armrests are soft touch, but this snazzy console has a neat movement that allows the driver to have a more comfortable elbow resting experience, or more space to shift.
All of them have this leather shifter that comes straight out of the new Subaru Crosstrek manual. It's a nice shifter, just I wish they would have put in a cool accent like they did with the carbon fiber that's laid throughout that actually looks pretty good, along with the red stitching that's on all of the seats, even with the leather. These are 6-way manual adjustable for the driver, 4-way for the passenger. You get a 10-way adjustable seat with the Limited trim. One thing that I do really love about the WRX is this steering wheel. It looks kind of old, but the steering grip itself is really nice. It has a nice meaty top end where you can kind of rest your hands. And then it also is a flat bottom, which is pretty cool. Another thing I should mention, all of them have 6-speaker systems as standard. You can get a 9-speaker Harman Kardon setup with a subwoofer in the rear deck. The 6-speaker system sounds pretty good. I can't speak for the Harman Kardon that's in this model specifically, but in other Subaru models I've found that they're pretty crisp. They get pretty loud without distorting. I don't really have any gripes about the 6-speaker unit though. Now let's talk space. I have more than enough up front, tons of headroom, plenty of legroom. My hips are fine in these seats. They're not, they are bolstered a little aggressively, so they kind of give you a nice little reassuring hug.
I'm 6'3", and while I don't expect too much from a car this size, I can fit myself behind my front seat position, but barely. My knees kind of drive themselves into the back of the seat, providing a nice massage for the front occupant.
But I can move my knees to the side and then it's acceptable. This is overall a sizable space. You have nice leather right here. It's padded, which is good. You have a standard center armrest, which is also good. You don't have any sort of USB port or car outlet back here, or vents. You do have a few USB ports in the center console though, so at least you get that. All right, so WRX has a decent sized trunk. The entry, as I just found out, is not super big. It's not a large complaint of mine, since the trunk itself can fit a decent amount of cargo, and you can fold down the rear seats as well if you need any more. In an articulate manner, I am going to hop out of this trunk and we're gonna go for a drive. Oh yeah. The main party piece of this thing is, of course, the engine. So it is the 2-liter turbocharged engine, and for you Subi bros, it is the FA engine. This puts out 268 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. What I really like about this engine is that it doesn't hide the fact that it's a turbo. Yeah, you gotta wait a little bit. There is some lag, but you're rewarded for waiting. Shifting in this car is not an easy process. You can be experienced, and quite frankly, you're still probably gonna have a little bit of a clunky experience. The gearbox is very notchy actually for a new vehicle. And the clutch is abrupt. It honestly feels like a stage 2 clutch. You even do get carbon first and second gear synchronizers, where it helps bite quicker, and it's supposed to help durability as well.
The power chain can really beat you up, especially if you aren't too familiar with the car. However, it is certainly capable. The difficult part with the WRX is that the clutch engagement is like a light switch, and modulating really takes care. My 5.8 second run sounds about right, considering that times with rollout are usually about 5.5 seconds. With more daily time, I'm sure that time could drop a little, but it's a tedious process to get acclimated to the WRX. I'm currently a full-time student, and I've recently taken up car sales on breaks from school, and I've run into a struggle like this on multiple occasions when people test drive WRXs.
All right, so the clutches kind of bite quick, so be cautious. You know what, buddy? I've driven a manual before. Okay, well I'll be fine. Okay, I trust you. Sorry, it's a little abrupt. So get that off. All right. All right, just try again. See, yeah, I got this. Yeah, sure, we're all good.
It's honestly easier to drive a WRX STI. It offers a little more communication through the pedals, and it does not have carbon synchros. Maybe that makes a difference? It just feels less touchy. I've also driven some used FA WRXs that did not feel as clunky as the new car. If there are any Subi bros out there with some insight on this, please let me know what you think in the comment section on why this is. Anyway, in town, not fun. A new SI or a new GTI is much easier to live with. Much easier. But the SI and GTI don't do what this thing can do on a back road, especially a rough one.
This works well at a track, but it's great for back roads because on this imperfect pavement, the all-wheel drive really shines through. It feels like I'm in Gran Turismo, partially because the steering is, yeah, it's a little numb, but the body roll is super limited. The traction is always there. The turbo torque pushes you through things. Sometimes people rag on this and they're like, oh, a Civic SI is just more fun. And you know what, in certain aspects I can agree. The Civic has a little bit tighter steering, it responds just a little bit quicker. The Civic Si also feels more tame, especially in the powertrain. This just has a unique personality. It inspires so much confidence, whether the pavement is good or bad.
This thing is quicker than the SI, and it made me feel more confident than I was in the SI, which is saying a lot. Yes, the steering feedback is on the numb side, but it has a reassuring heft to it, and your inputs are met with a natural motion. The WRX has a tenacious grip of the road at all times, and there's very little body roll for a car this size, which really helps the driver's sense of control. However, the stiffness needed to create that has downsides. I've driven much of the competition, and this thing has the least forgiving suspension out of them all. While I can see this as a downfall, I believe there are many out there that will appreciate this. It always feels dialed in, and there's no adaptive dampening system to worry about fixing. The ride isn't so bad where I see it as unbearable for a daily, but it will turn away those who aren't sure of what they want out of their next car. But again, WRX buyers want pain. Want proof? Nissan has a great manual transmission in their very traditional 370Z sports car, and a little less than half the buyers choose it over the auto. Subaru makes a manual that scares children and people with heart problems, and 90% choose it over the automatic. Yeah, the optional CVT gets worse gas mileage and is slower, but it still offers a near WRX experience without having to shift gears, which is usually a recipe for success. However, people that buy the WRX want a WRX, so they can take a few punches from a transmission. Unfortunately, reliability has been a bit of a rocky road for this generation due to that transmission and clutch problems. Something that isn't cheap if out of the 5-year $60K warranty. However, the resale on the Subi is at the top of its class. I wouldn't really worry too much about buying one myself, because at least if you do need to do repairs, you're fixing something that's worth a lot. Here are a few miscellaneous praises I have as well. The sound of the Boxer 4 in the WRX is distinctive, and the visibility is great in here, which is a usual Subaru advantage, but it's even more welcome than usual when comparing this to some other sports cars.
It just grips and grips. The turbo noises become background noise. You can do 60 around corners that I would never normally do that on in like any car, and this is something that you can get for 30 grand. It's still incredibly neutral. Well, there was a little bit of rotation right there, but I mean, that was me trying to get it to misbehave. A GTI is going to be more comfortable. An SI is going to be a little bit more pinpoint accurate. But this thing just feels like an all-wheel drive beast that gives no shits about where it is or what it's doing, but it's going to try to be the best at it. Is there a whole bunch of emotion? Not really. The feeling of G-force and how this car just does what you ask it to do, it makes me forget that, yeah, the steering is a little bit on the vague side. Maybe the clutch operation is annoying. It makes me forget that.
The WRX is competitive despite its blatant shortcomings. If I had to fix a few things, a more communicative steering rack and a less touchy clutch would be on the top of my list. But I would be hesitant to soften it up. This thing will beat you, but it will also deliver an experience that's well worth it. If you would rarely take this thing out to a nice road, I don't advise buying one. Shoot for an SI, GTI, Veloster N, or Jetta GLI. They might be front-wheel drive, but they're fun and they're much more forgiving as a daily. If you want something sporty, yet still kind of comfortable and all-wheel drive, you might have to step up to the Golf R or look into entry-level luxury cars. I'll say it again, the WRX is not the most pure sports sedan. Others are more fun, but if you want an affordable car that is highly capable in any road condition, then I will happily recommend the WRX. Even if you can afford a quicker car, the WRX or SDI offer a rally-like experience that demands attention. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Huge shout out to Roy on the Eastside for allowing me access to this WRX. If you need a new or used car, check him out.